everyone.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Soozee.
And you're listening to the Gilmore Gab. Welcome to the Gilmore Gab. This is episode 11, where we take a break from loving and hating characters to answer the questions of like comparison for Jess and Logan, since we just spent so much time talking about Jess and Logan as the individual characters, and we've come to the agreement that like we like both of them,
Yes,
for different reasons, and justified, like with Rory, without Rory. So if you're team Jess or Logan, we like you. If you're team Dean, thanks for coming and listening to our podcast.
we love you for who you are, not for who you love.
We love that you stand up for what you believe in.
Yes, that's a really good way to put that.
So, and this episode might be a little bit shorter, but with the way we talk, who knows? But this is kind of our moment to kind of talk about different questions and comparisons. So I don't know if you want to start with your question comparisons or if you want to start with mine.
I just have the one.
Okay.
Really.
Well, go ahead.
So we'll start with that one. Okay. So I want to talk about the difference between like when Jess goes to family dinner and then when Rory goes to family dinner with the Huntsbergers, because that's the only time we really see like an outsider coming into a family dinner that's well established and kind of the reactions of both of those. So we have where Rory invites Jess to dinner with Emily because Richard's out of town and Emily really wants to meet him. And so he goes, but he's late. And there's the swan incident.
Yeah, with the black eye.
And so he's like an hour late to dinner and he didn't want to go anyways, but he went for Rory and it's just a disaster. But Emily, I have never loved Emily more in this moment because she is graceful and she is kind, even though she hates everything about Jess.
She is trying so hard to make the best of that situation. She absolutely loses it on Lorelai later.
Yes.
But no, yeah, she definitely, which I'd like to point out really quick a parallel here too. Jess goes for Rory. Dean would never go to things like that for Rory. She had to needle him in like the debutante ball and the prom at Chilton, like constantly needle him, like, please, I promise I'll do all of this if you will just do this one thing.
Yeah.
She never had to make deals like that with Jess.
All she had to do is be like, I really want you to be there. And he's like, you really want me there? And she's like, yes. And he's like, okay, fine.
And then, so like, again, point Jess.
Yeah.
No points, Dean.
Does Dean ever go to Friday night dinner? Because it is a Friday night dinner.
No.
Because I know that the grandparents meet Dean, but he also goes to the debutante ball.
Yes. I don't think he is never at that table. I do not recall him ever sitting at that table.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too, but
which
I couldn't
again,
remember.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Anyway, so
you have that dinner, and then you have the Huntsberger dinner where Logan invites Rory because his sister is afraid to tell her parents that she's gotten engaged, and they just think that it's going to be the hardest dinner of their lives because he's a regular person. And so Logan's like, I'll bring Rory. She's a Gilmore. It'll be fine. And he even tells them he's bringing his girlfriend, which is what.
Well, I think Honor says it.
Yeah,
because he never says it.
Yeah,
he says it to Honor. When he's like, this is Rory, she's my girlfriend. And Honor's like, I'm sorry, what?
You said what now?
He's never called a girl his girlfriend ever in his entire life.
And he's beaming.
Yeah, he's
beaming in that moment.
That. Yeah. I was real happy about that too. Yeah, which is wild because that entire dinner, they completely ignore Honor and her husband. They're like, oh, we knew you were getting, we've already got the room booked. Calm down.
Yeah.
Which, again, wild. They like Honor's regular guy, but they have a problem with Rory Gilmore
because she's dating the heir.
That valid. I was just thinking it's because it's Logan.
Yeah.
But if she was dating Honor, how would they have reacted? Probably just fine. A Gilmore dating our daughter
Honor was too good for her. So
yeah, but the other parallel too is Richard Gilmore wasn't at the one with Jess, and Mitchum didn't show up until they were leaving.
Yeah.
And then you have weird grandpa.
Yeah, he was weird.
Which was, the whole thing.
If only we could have had Lorelai the First there.
I know, I was just thinking the same thing.
Although she rented her house to Corn, I think she would have liked Jess.
Yes.
Like, Lorelai the First was super chill and I love her.
Yeah.
Other than I don't appreciate how hard she was on Emily. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
Like, once they got married, accept that she's your daughter-in-law and like try and be a good mother-in-law.
Yeah, or at least just not be terrible.
Yeah.
No, I do think those are very interesting parallels, but I think it speaks to the character of Emily Gilmore and What is her name?
What is like Mitchum's wife?
Shira.
Shira, yes.
Which is it's not even a rich, like she had to have married into wealth.
She did, because Emily brings it up. They're like, well, of course he still fools around because your weight fluctuates 30 pounds every other month. But like how you bagged someone like him when you were just a waitress or something.
But like, and that, I think the dinner behavior speaks volumes. Because Emily, regardless of what she's heard about Jess, regardless of how Jess showed up, regardless of how he treated Rory, which is Emily's pride and joy and precious little angel we need to protect, she comported herself with grace and really tried to which is a rare thing to see Emily do, honestly, because Emily likes the dramatics.
Yeah.
That's where Lorelai gets it. But Shira Huntsberger was like, no, we're going to hash this out at this table right now. I don't care if I embarrass you.
Yeah.
We're dealing with this.
But then also she keeps leaving for smoke breaks.
Yes. Because she's so stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, ma'am, calm down.
But also like Jess in that situation, he doesn't want to be there, but he's still trying to put on a good face. And Rory keeps talking about it. And he's like, they finally step aside. He's like, I don't want to be here. I've had a crappy day. I'm trying to just be here and be pleasant. And you keep needling me to try and get me to talk about things in front of your grandmother, who I'm trying to impress. Let's talk about this later.
More evidence that Rory is the problem. Well, and the thing too is she just automatically assumes that he got in a fight with Dean.
Yes.
Which is so stupid. Because do you really think Jess would be embarrassed to say, yes, I got in a fight with Dean?
He would not.
It was very obvious he was embarrassed.
Yes.
Not that he was mad, but that he was embarrassed. But Rory's so self-centered. And she's like her mother in that moment where she just assumes the worst.
Yeah.
And has decided that Jess has done something wrong.
Yeah.
Where it was Jess just got attacked by a swan, which is a little embarrassing. But swans are scary.
Swans are mean.
Yes, so are geese.
Yeah.
Not Canadian geese, but the white geese that think they're swans.
Yeah.
They're trying to be swans, but they're not. They're geese. Anyway, but yeah, that was the moment where Rory was like Lorelai when Jess crashed the car.
Yeah.
You clearly got in a fight with Dean. Why do you care? Why would he need to get in a fight with Dean?
Yeah.
The only time he and Dean get in fights is over you.
And he won. At that point, he has won.
Again, Jess is Luke. Dean is Christopher.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
No, and that, because and Emily really tried. And I do appreciate that Emily held it together and then was like, Lorelai, why would you let her date that awful boy?
But also, I appreciate that Emily was chill in the moment, but also she was not willing to give him anything either. She, she had made up her mind, basically, before he walked through that door, what he's going to be. And then the fact that he was late and he had a black eye and it looked like he was trouble, she just assumed that he was.
Well, and I'm sure she knew that he was Luke's nephew and she had an opinion of Luke, too. Whereas the Huntsbergers, they didn't know Rory.
Yeah.
They made a decision about her in the same way Emily did, I guess, about Jess because of her mother.
Yeah.
But in that moment, they didn't even get to food.
No.
I don't know if they did it all with...
And they don't even talk to Rory.
No, they talk around her like she's not there.
Yeah.
And it's just wild.
But I do, and we talked about this in the Logan episode, I love that when it all finally comes to the surface of what they're all upset about, Logan immediately...
We're leaving.
Yeah. He's like, I will not put up with this. I will not tolerate this.
And I feel like he would do that for any guest of his,
yeah.
girlfriend or otherwise. If his family was making his guest uncomfortable, that's the level of decorum he had. He's like, we don't treat people like this.
Yeah.
Because even with Marty, Logan didn't treat people like trash.
Yeah.
So,
which, given his family, where did he learn that?
He didn't want to be like his dad.
Yeah.
Nothing is a bigger motivator to be a better person than not wanting to be like someone you hate.
Yeah.
Another fun comparison there is just the houses. Because you drive up to the Gilmore's house and you're like, wow, this is an impressive home.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of modest in comparison. And you walk in and it's just a nice house.
Yeah.
You go to the Huntsbergers and Rory's like, is that whatever the artist is? And did you see the ceiling? Have you seen the floor?
Yeah.
Everything with Shira Huntsberger, especially, because I'm sure Mitchum was like, I don't care. Decorate, buy, whatever. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Hers is to show wealth.
Yeah.
She needs people to know that she's wealthy and show that outwardly with the things she buys. Whereas the Gilmores are just like the furniture in their home is very modest.
Yeah. They
don't have these obnoxious tchotchkes that are thousands of dollars. They don't have fancy vases. It's just, It's nice paintings. It's nice. It's old people furniture that's a little pricey.
Which is funny because all the jokes about Emily running through maids and stuff and the amount of times that Emily answers the door and she's like, can't even get a maid to answer the door, and like how they kind of joke about how it's too big of a place, right?
Mhm.
When in reality it's actually quite it's a modest mansion for
It
what
is very modest. And it's very nice. And it's so funny because like ever since I first watched Gilmore Girls, like my great grandmother just turned 100.
Mhm.
And everything about my Gigi is very reminiscent of Emily Gilmore
Mhm.
to a point.
Yeah.
I learned what a Davenport was because of my Gigi. I'd never heard the word Davenport before. And my Gigi's house, even though it was like one of those like split level style homes in Montana, like the furniture inside was reminiscent of some of the like the paintings and the furniture and the styling was very much like what you would see in Emily Gilmore's home. And so I kind of was like, oh, I have my own Emily Gilmore grandma.
Yeah.
And she had an attitude like Emily sometimes too. Bless that woman. So it's I do consider it like modest. And but you walk into that Huntsberger home and I'm like, that house was huge.
It was huge.
And unnecessarily so.
Yeah.
Because it also felt really sparsely furnished.
Yeah.
When you walk into the Gilmore's home, it felt warm.
Yeah.
Like the lighting was warm. The furniture tones were warm. It was cozy. Like it didn't matter. It was a mansion. You felt at home. The Huntsberger's house felt cold.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying that as if I was there. But when you watch it, the lighting is cold. Everything is cold.
Everything is dark.
Yeah. And like blue lighty or white light and like stone and tile and the Gilmore's entire mansion is like beautiful gray stone, but inside it's like red tones and dark wood and carpets and rugs and yeah. So I mean, and I feel like that's a really good contrast of like, you know, how those kids grew up and the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
So that I did like that to be able to see that difference too.
This just reminded me of it. This is a complete aside, a little note. I was watching an interview with the actress who played Emily Gilmore, and she's talking about because when Netflix did A Year in the Life, they didn't have the sets anymore. So they
used some of the set in Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
And a few other CW shows have like the church and stuff in there.
So they didn't have the Emily Gilmore house set anymore. So they had to recreate it from the show. And the actress that played Emily said that they did such a good job and they actually made it bigger than the original set was because she used to have to like scoot between two places whenever she was on set. And they had made it big enough that she could just walk between them. And how she was like, you know, they spared no expense when they recreated the sets for this and how beautiful and like lovely it was and like how much better the Year in the Life set was versus the original set, which I mean, Netflix, they had more money. And they were, you know, it was just really funny. I was like, that's kind of funny, but also like when you like if you did not know that, you would not have been able to tell that they did not use the same set.
I didn't, but also any little discrepancies could be attributed to the fact that she had lost her husband, so she was redoing her house.
Yeah.
Essentially. She was like getting rid of things and changing things up. And so anything that looked different could be attributed to that whole I lost my husband. Yeah. I need to change everything because this is how I handle that, you know? So
which also going into like the differences between their houses, because Emily gets the dimensions wrong and gets that huge portrait of Richard. And when really she just wanted a small, tasteful portrait of Richard. And Lorelai ends up being like, this isn't what you wanted. Like, just get what you want. Like, you don't have to pretend that this is what you wanted because like we both know you don't want this huge portrait of dad that takes up an entire wall that is staring at you every time you walk by it. Like, and in the end, Emily does because she moves to the beach, right? And like she has her small, tasteful, small. It was still
she has what she wants.
Yeah, she has what she wanted, and it's a very tasteful portrait of Richard, which is everything she wanted. And I love, this is getting off topic a little bit, but I love that Emily truly like followed her own path in the end and like did what she wanted, which is true of a Gilmore. Whereas the Huntsbergers, I feel like, had very specific ideas and you followed them, whether you wanted to or not.
Well, and the other comparison there is you saw Emily go out on her own. Even when she was married, she could do things herself, except when she had eye surgery.
Yeah.
And then she needed support. Did she have her DAR ladies? Yes. But she could enter a room solo and be just fine. But at the DIR event where she reads down Shira, Shira comes in with a posse.
Yeah.
Shira's given mean girl vibes. Shira feels entitled to a table in the front. You know, whereas Emily Gilmore, she may raise a stink and be like, hey, this is not acceptable, but she doesn't do it out of entitlement. She does it out of this like understanding of the social status and how things work. And she doesn't need a posse to back her up.
But also Emily Gilmore would never just show up to an event she had not RSVP'd to.
That too. Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I was a little disappointed. We can't get too into Emily because this is not an Emily episode, but like it's relevant to the comparison. But at first I was disappointed in her for being like, no, you can't sit her over by the bathrooms or at the slush table. Like you can't do that. I was like, Emily, you know what she did. And then when she reads her down, I was like, good girl, Emily. But, and I think that's the other difference is you see that with the Jess dinner that Emily will defend Rory and protect Rory.
Yeah.
Shira didn't give two poops about Logan.
She did not. No.
Or honor.
Yeah.
Bad parent. Anyway.
Seriously. But I think also she had, because Mitchum was not a great husband.
No, he was not.
Like
and Richard was Emily, a phenomenal husband.
They are the golden standard of couples in that show. Them and Suki and Jackson, which we've already talked about.
Yeah.
But like Shira had Mitchum. I wish everyone could see my face.
And Mitchum was like
right
never home.
Yeah. And he was often like, he was not faithful. You know, he had things his way.
And he left her to deal with because the grandpa was his dad.
Yeah.
Because he's the Huntsberger.
Yeah.
So she had to deal with him.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
And then you have Logan. And it makes me appreciate Logan so much more because he is so vastly different than his father and his grandfather.
Yes.
Because he saw them and he made an active choice. I don't want to be them.
And in truth, Jess is so much different from his dad because one, he didn't know him, but then when he did know him, he was like, no, I'd rather be like Luke.
Yeah.
And make something of myself on my own. So, but on the note of the dinner, we know that Emily Gilmore appreciated a Logan Huntsberger because he was part of their circle.
Yeah.
A right fit for Rory. And then when she found out how Shira felt about Rory, she was like, those two kids will be together. They will stay together and they will be happy. And if you try to ruin it, like I will ruin you.
Yeah.
And I love that. But do you think she could have ever liked Jess? Like she has come to like Luke. Kind of. I don't know if we could say she likes Luke, but comparing Jess and Logan, we know she liked Logan initially because he was a rich boy. And then she came to just kind of like him. Do you think, I guess I don't know. Do you think she ever really liked Logan as like for Rory as a good fit? Or do you think she liked Logan the way she wanted Christopher to be with Lorelai? I'm asking a lot of questions.
That's true. It's true. I don't know that she ever would have liked Jess in the same way she liked Logan, just because
of who Jess was.
Just of who he was. I think she might have grown to appreciate him, but I honestly don't think Jess would have stuck around long enough for anyone to see him that way.
Because Rory needed to be more mature for him.
Yes.
And he needed better.
Yes.
So
I don't think Jess ever would have been around long enough for that to happen.
Okay.
I think she initially liked Logan because he was the right type of person for her. But with the whole yacht thing, I think that he dropped a little in her estimation. But when he proposes to Rory, she's all for it.
Yeah.
And I think that I think Emily always was going to be Team Logan just because he had the right upbringing. He understood the world that she came from.
Even though technically Rory didn't come from that world.
It's true, she didn't. But I think especially by the end with all of that Rory did with the DAR and all of that kind of stuff, she understood the world that her grandparents came from better. And I think Emily saw Logan as the best fit for what they wanted for Rory.
So it seems like that she would have been Team Logan basically because of who he was and not necessarily because she liked him.
I don't know that she got to know him well enough to make an opinion like that.
I don't think so either. And I think I agree, like with the yacht thing, he dropped in her eyes. But then later too, when Rory's just hanging out in the pool house with her boyfriend, like she does not like Logan in that moment because she's tired of Rory sitting on her butt. She is she starts trying to come in to catch them like in the act, like to basically keep them from being intimate and other things. Like I think at a certain point she probably thought Logan was enabling the behavior.
Yeah.
Because everybody's probably heard about Logan Huntsberger. Because news gossip travels like crazy in those circles.
But also Rory would never.
But here she is, not going to yell, sitting on her butt. Like watching that shift was fascinating, but also like I think I'm on the page of I agree. I don't think she ever bothered to take the time to get to know Logan because one, it started out he's the right fit because he's the right type of person.
Yeah.
And then it was he's a problem because he's enabling this bad behavior from Rory. And then it was like, oh, Rory's back on track and she's with the right fit. This is how Gilmores operate, you know? Although I do have to wonder if maybe Emily might have also, after the incident with Shira, been kind of like, this poor boy needs someone who's actually nice to him.
Yeah.
I agree though, like, because I don't know that in the end she ever really truly liked Luke either.
Yeah.
So, and Jess was just an extension of Luke. So.
Oh, very much so, especially in their eyes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I agree. I don't know that Emily could have really liked either of them in the way that you would like someone for your child or grandchild. So.
And I think also at the end, because like Emily's not at the wedding of Luke and Lorelai.
Huh.
Like she's at the beach.
Oh.
She's living there full time.
Well, because was their wedding just kind of like spur of the moment at that point?
I mean, it was, but like it was still a few days before. Like they could have called Emily, and Emily, because I think she was just at Martha's Vineyard, and she could have made it back in time.
I need to rewatch Year in the Life.
But like, there's no like she's not there. They even get her stylist to come and like style Luke and Lorelai. Yes,
that's not her name, but that's what she calls.
No, that
Lorelai.
Is her name, Miss Celine.
Oh, I thought she called Lorelai Celine.
No, she's Audrey. No, that's right.
Yes.
She calls them all by old.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, but like they have Emily's stylist, but Emily's not there.
So did they get Emily's stylist because they let Emily know what was happening? Ellen was like, "Go for it."
Maybe. I don't know, because like we don't see a lot of interaction with Emily and Luke in a.
We really don't.
And I think that like they just have separated their lives so much.
But let's also talk about the fact that Richard never met Jess. He wasn't there at that dinner.
He wasn't.
But he knows all about Logan. He likes Logan. You know, but do you think Richard liked Logan for Logan, or did he also like Logan for the status, the type of guy he was?
I think I actually think Richard saw a little bit of himself in Logan, and he was driven. He was very business oriented, you know, and he had the gumption to go places. And so I think Richard saw a little of himself in Logan. It is interesting because like one of our first interactions with Richard, and I think it is the first interaction we see with Richard and Logan, is when Richard is like
Trix is like, "Oh, I heard you proposed to my granddaughter. Let's get this," because of that stunt they pulled.
Yes.
I love, that's one of my favorite Logan moments too, and I can't believe I forgot about it in the Logan episode. Because it's a Richard moment.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, and I love that, and I think that, you know, he's been a Yale man. He understands, and I mean, he says that he spent a whole month naked. So like,
Richard understands the youth aspect, what it's like to be young, and believes that you can grow up out of that.
Yes, and I think that he expects Logan to grow up and you know, and to move forward with his life, which is really what I think the Gilmores expect for Rory and Logan together, right?
Yeah,
like because they see that happening, and I don't think like the whole yacht incident. I mean, the fact that her grandparents like have her move in with them says a lot about how they're willing to just kind of like let it slide. I mean, I think they're not happy with it, but also they're not letting it affect their relationship with Rory. It definitely affects Lorelai's relationship with Rory, but I think that ship sailed long before she stole a yacht because of the way she parented Rory. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about here. But I think that like both Richard and Emily, I think they would have been Team Logan to the end.
Yeah, because Richard never met Jess.
Yeah.
Ever. He kind of likes Luke towards the end.
I think he respects Luke.
Yeah.
Which is huge for Richard, but I don't think it ever went beyond that.
But like, okay, so like post heart attack, post getting fired from his job, Richard is very different from early episodes, Richard.
Yeah.
Do you think post all that, Richard would have been more lenient about Jess?
No.
I don't. Downright, Jess is the wrong person for my granddaughter.
Only because she is the granddaughter.
That's his.
And he and Rory are so close. he only wants the absolute best for Rory, and he would not ever see Jess as the best. Even if Jess in a lot of ways could have helped her become well,
and Richard didn't like Dean.
No, he didn't like Dean either.
Richard had his thumb on the pulse of that man, that nonsense with Dean. Like, he already knew Dean.
Yeah. Richard was wise beyond his years.
Yeah. No, it is an interesting parallel, though, because it really does take us to the heart of, like, how these... Because if you're with a Gilmore, you're with the Gilmores.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be with Lorelai or just with Rory. You have to interact with all the Gilmores. So it's... Which I guess if we're talking about who likes who the most, with Emily and stuff, so then I guess the question is, who do you think Lorelai likes the most? I feel like the answer is obvious, because she hated Jess.
She did hate Jess, which is so unfortunate. But, like,
it's because she had, which is so wild to me. I wonder if she saw, because I don't think she really truly liked Logan either until that letter.
Yeah.
When she saw him be not what she expected him. And I think the reason she didn't like Jess and didn't like Logan at first is because in both of those boys, she saw Christopher.
Yeah.
And she didn't want that for her daughter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Logan came to her and was like, I know I screwed up. I know she will only listen to you.
Yeah.
That he is the first boy to truly respect the relationship Lorelai and Rory had.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the only reason that Lorelai ends up liking Logan in the end, is because of that turning point.
Yeah.
And if Jess had made it long term and I don't think he would have. I mean, I personally think if he'd stayed with Rory, he wouldn't have had the maturing that he did. And so I don't think Lorelai would have ever liked him personally.
Okay.
Sorry.
But no, you're fine. You're fine. This just triggered another question, though.
Okay.
Year in the life, Jess and Logan. I mean, we don't see Lorelai interact with either of them, actually.
Which is interesting because you see April.
Yeah.
And they're, like, hanging out at her house. So, like, clearly Luke is a big part.
Yeah.
Although, I guess when Jess comes back for his mom's wedding, was there a moment where, like, Lorelai wasn't a total turd to Jess?
Yes, there is.
So maybe she grew up a little.
She respects that he came back for his mom's wedding. And then she's trying to tease, she's trying to, like, make a joke at his expense because she sees that he has the books that Luke had just listened to on tape because Luke gave them to him.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, he's listening to these relationship tapes. And Luke comes a little unglued about it. He's like,
because Luke was listening to him.
Yeah, because Luke's the one that gave him to him.
It's not about Jess, it's about Luke.
Yes, but still, like, he's like, the kid's trying to improve himself. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, we should be happy for him, type of a thing. Which
good for Luke.
Which are good for Luke. But also, it kind of made Lorelai, like, kind of stop and be like, kind of look at Jess and be like, he actually is doing something with himself. Like, oh yeah, I can't just assume that he's the same kid he always has been.
I think when it comes to Lorelai, it's the same conversation we had in the Logan episode about, and a little bit in the Jess episode, that Logan with Rory is better. Jess without Rory is better.
Yeah.
And I think in this case, Lorelai likes Logan with Rory. She likes Jess, not because he's not with Rory, but who he is when he's not with Rory.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important distinction. It's not that she... early on, she liked that they weren't together anymore. Like, she didn't like Jess. She liked that Jess was not a part of Rory's life.
Yeah.
But I think in that moment, when Luke kind of makes her think for a moment, that she's like, no, you know what? I can like Jess now because he is a better person now that he has moved on from my daughter.
And I think, and this may be a bold statement of me, I don't know. I think that Luke with Jess is better.
Yes.
Like, Luke is a better person when Jess is around.
Yes.
And I'm focusing a lot on the year in life in this, but
I think we kind of have to, though.
Yeah.
Because we've established that older Jess is better.
Yes.
And we see that Logan as a person is better, but because of Rory, he's not matured when it comes to her. And I think the year in the life shows that comparison, and this episode is all about the comparison.
It's true.
So,
but like in a year in the life, when Lorelai goes to do Wild and Luke is beside himself because he thinks that she has left him for good and that she's never coming back.
Because she did run away from Max in almost the same way.
Yes. And he thinks, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, we're done. And he's freaking out and all the people are there. And then Jess comes into town to help his mom get out of a vegetable cult, which they didn't want him anyways. But it's so funny because he comes in town to go with Luke to go visit his mom because he comes into town again because he has to be the parent to his parent. And so he and Luke are going to go down and be the parents that his mom needs them to be. And then they find out that the cult's gone, but then he notices that Luke is not okay.
Yeah.
And I love that he immediately clears out the diner and then has Luke sit down. And I talked about this a little bit, but like the fact that he's just like, tell me what's going on. And he's like, she's gone. And he's like, where did she go? And he's like, she's doing wild. And he's like, book or movie. And Luke just looks at me. He's like, no, they're very different things. Like, which one is it?
That's a good running joke in that episode.
And he's like, book. And he's like, okay. And he's like,
she didn't leave you. You're okay.
Yeah. And he's like, she's coming back. Like, she'll be back. And Luke's just like, how do you know? And he's like, because I know.
You should read the book. I have no concept of the book at all either.
I don't either. So I know it was made into a movie, and I know that they're very different. But like, and it is a funny running joke throughout the thing. But like, I loved that in that moment, like his book nerdishness, his knowledge, all of that comes into play to comfort Luke, because who else in that town would know the difference?
Well, and then it shows how much Jess has matured, because young Jess would never have wanted to comfort Luke. He would just be like, just get over it, you know? Yeah. And he has said those things to him when like Luke and Lorelai are having the issue. Like, well, just get over it. Like, clearly she's a problem. And so he's matured enough to be like, clearly my uncle, who's basically my father, is hurting. And he needs someone who's clear-headed to help him.
And that can see the situation in a way that he can't comprehend.
Exactly. Well, and then again, it opens a new parallel too of like, Jess has people in his life that have circled around him that love him, that he can support, even though his mom and TJ are kind of whatever. He's got a little niece or a little sister, not a niece. And he's got
a little niece.
Well,
too.
He does have a niece. She's not little, but
and she's the worst, but that's okay.
But like despite his rebellion and everything, he's got these people that he can comfort and support. And the only people Logan has are his weird Yale buddies, his rich boyfriends, who are just as immature as they've always been to a point. Like Colin and Finn kind of grew up a little, but like he almost died because the only people that really had cared about Logan his whole life, for more than just being the heir to the Huntsberger millions, were these boys. Yeah. And then Rory.
What about Honor?
Honor cares about her brother. But Honor is also having to kind of deal with her own family trauma. Yeah. And I mean, Honor showed up when Logan almost died. To a point.
His mom didn't even show up. What was his mom doing besides smoking?
And I think, you know, if Mitchum Huntsberger had a moment like that Luke had, Logan wouldn't show up for him. No. Because Mitchum never showed up for Logan. Yeah. And it's a little heartbreaking. And I think that's where I almost lean more Team Jess a lot of the time now, is as an adult realizing it, like having good relationships and people in your life is so incredibly important to your well-being as a whole. Yeah. And despite how much Jess rebelled against it, him being sent to be with Luke literally changed his life. Yeah. For the better. And saved his life. And I think if Logan had more than just Rory who cared about him in that way, because Colin and Finn, good friends, but they didn't care about him the way like Luke cares about Jess. Yeah. Rory did. And like, no offense to Honor, but Honor had her own chaos going on. Yeah. And she understood that this was the life of the heir of the millions. Like, let him be free for a moment. Like, and she was trying to deal with her own, like, I'm getting married, I have all, you know. And I think that if Logan had more people like that in his life, he wouldn't have jumped off of a plane or whatever he did and almost died. Yeah. He would have been better able to stand up to his dad and say, this isn't what I want for my life. Yeah. And I think Rory would have been more likely to say yes. I agree. Because Rory grew up not just in a home, but in a town full of people who would be there for her. Yeah. She could have called any person in that town, even Taylor Dosey, and been like, I need help. And they would have shown up. And Jess, in the end, had people who would do that for him. I think even Lorelai might have shown up for him towards the end if he called and he's like, look, I can't get a hold of Luke, but I need help. And I think Lorelai would have been like, all right. Yeah. But Logan doesn't have anyone. Because I feel like, yeah, he could call Honor, but I don't know that Honor would always necessarily show up unless it was convenient. Yeah. Because Honor only showed up at his place because she needed to tell mom and dad she was engaged and she needed backup. Yeah. She didn't defend Rory or Logan at that dinner. She didn't do anything.
Yeah, she didn't.
And it's no offense to Honor, because obviously they both have some trauma.
Yeah.
But I think that even if Lorelai didn't like Jess, if she had been at that dinner, I think she would have also had their back in that moment.
Yeah.
Even if it was just because she didn't want Emily to cause problems.
Yeah.
And I feel like even when Emily kind of called her out, like, how would you let him be with that boy? And I still think Lorelai was kind of like, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, calm down.
Yeah.
For as much as she didn't like Jess.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's really interesting just how having specific types of relationships can really change a character.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, because like if you look at both not Dean, we don't care about Dean.
We don't care about Dean.
Well, actually, no. Let's bring Dean in this a little bit.
Okay, we only care a little bit.
In the year in the life, we have Dean, we have Jess, and we have Logan. Mm-hmm. Dean is married with kids.
Is he?
Yeah.
He just shows up and holds up the cornstarch, and I'm like, why did you pay him all that money to show up for 2 seconds?
No, he's married with kids because his kids have lice, and that's why he's not there. Because his wife is taking care of the kids with the lice, and they didn't want him to get it too. So he went to go visit his parents for the weekend.
Look, I just blocked out anything to do with him.
So you have Dean, who like somehow
is Lindsay still his wife, or did he get a new wife?
No, he got a new wife. Yeah,
good. Good on you, Lindsay, for not red flagging or for taking that red flag and running.
But like, so you have Dean, who's married with kids. You have Jess, who is like doing his writing stuff
and perfectly content in his
very content,
lifestyle.
Very happy. We don't know his relationship status.
That's because he's one of the only characters whose entire life does not revolve around being in a relationship.
It's true. It's true.
Like realization.
Because other than Rory, other than like after he leaves Stars Hollow, we don't see him in a relationship again. He is doing his own thing the rest of the time, living his life the way he wants to live his life. And then you have Logan, who is cheating on his fiance that he doesn't love with Rory because he can't let it go. And it's just so interesting to see those three guys at the end of the show and like what became of them. And honestly, like how being in that relationship kind of changed them.
Yeah.
I think they gave Dean a happy ending to try and appease all of us that don't like Dean, but it just made me more
It doesn't
angry.
appease us. I don't want him to have a happy ending. He's a terrible person and he deserves to be miserable.
Yeah, it's true.
He deserves to have lice.
He should have gotten lice with his kids.
He should have just had lice.
Yeah. But like going back to like Logan and Jess, because that's who we actually care about in this episode. It's interesting because Jess is content with his life and Logan is not.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to the relationships they had in their formative years and the support they had.
Yeah.
And the Rory of it all.
Yeah.
Jess escaped it. Logan did not.
Well,
Logan
and even
can't quit it.
And we talked about this in the Jess episode, like when he rolls back into town in A Year in the Life and he sees Rory being the editor-in-chief of the Stars Hollow Gazette and
not living up to the potential he's always seen her capable of. He's like, yeah, no, we are fully closing and locking that door. We're done.
But also where he's like, oh, this is what you're doing. And she's kind of like, yeah, well, there's nothing really else for me, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like, to say that to him, of all people, he had nothing. He had absolutely nothing, but he had the gumption and the desire to go out and do something, and he made something with his life.
And I have to say, like, I get that this is a show, it's all scripted or whatever, but in real life, I feel like real Jess would have been like the amount of self-control it would have taken not to roll his eyes in that moment.
Right?
Oh, like a painful eye roll.
Right? But I also love like that just also goes to show like the care and the kindness that he has because he very gently is like, I always thought you should have written a book.
Yeah.
And then kind of plants that idea in her head.
And that's the thing, is Jess, of all of the people in Rory's life, like I said, like Logan let her be and kind of figure herself out. And I do say that Jess like tried to hold her up to this standard and wanted her to be on his level and she was never going to get there. But I think at the same time, of all the people in Rory's life, Jess knew Rory better.
Yeah.
He knew. And that's why he sat there and he planted that idea, because he knew girl was never going to get there on her own.
Yeah.
And as much as it may have hurt him to lose her, and as much as he may no longer have wanted to be in a relationship with her, he still cared about her enough to want to see her succeed.
Yeah.
And since she clearly couldn't figure it out herself, he gave her one last helping hand, which is now going to be all derailed because she got pregnant.
Mhm. I also think part of it also could be because she means something to Luke, because like Luke is basically like her dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which that sounds a little weird now that Luke is the father figure to both of them, but fortunately he's not actually their father.
Yeah. Well,
But like Luke and Lorelai and Rory, like they are also interconnected. I think part of it also could be like he knew how what she meant to Luke too, and seeing her succeed would also like make Luke happy and Lorelai happy too. Like everyone would be happier.
yeah. Well, to that end, Luke is an incredibly perceptive person.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, he really wanted Rory and Jess to be together.
Mm-hmm.
He thought Rory would be a good influence on Jess. So his motives for them being together was like, oh, I think it'll be good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, like if we're going to say year in the life, or just as Jess matures, do you think, because obviously we know Luke likes Jess better.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the boyfriend status, who do you think Luke would have preferred she ended up with? Do you think he would have preferred she go with Logan, seeing that Jess was doing fine? Or do you think he still wanted Rory to be with Jess?
That's a good question. That is a good question.
These are deep questions.
It is. Oh man. I don't know. Especially because Jess is so different by the end.
Because I mean, really, we can't make a decision until Logan comes into the picture.
Yeah.
And like really the first encounter Luke has with Logan is Logan and Rory making out at the vow renewal, and he fully fathers up.
Yes, he does. And then Christopher tries to father up, and it's like, my dude.
I don't think Luke would have ever liked Logan because Logan was too much like Christopher. Focus. We're almost done. It's been a long session. But yeah, I don't think, because Luke hates Christopher.
He does.
And I think everything about Logan would make him think of Christopher, and he knows what Christopher did to Rory and Lorelai, and I don't think he'd want that for Rory.
Okay, but I'm going to bring up Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
Yeah. Where Luke shows up unprepared for Valentine's Day, and Logan saves his butt.
Yes, and I think that Luke is conflicted though, because Luke hates rich people.
Yeah.
And Luke also pulls the well, they're alone together, and Lorelai's like, she's an adult, calm down. But and then Logan, and I think Luke went into it with a prejudice to not like Logan because he's a rich boy.
Yeah.
But then he sees like Logan can cook, and Rory's cooking real food.
When
we talk about that, and I imagine that right there, Luke is like, wait. Logan makes her cook real food with Did Rory eat a vegetable? There, that's Luke's turning point. And then Logan's like, here, help them out. Like, yeah. Like, and that's just goes to Logan being that good guy. That despite the fact that he is a rich boy, he's not that stereotypical. He's a nice guy. Yeah. And he did it without malice, without jest, without making Luke feel like a loser. He was like, no, seriously, I have 2 of these. I'll do this, you do that. Like, it's totally fine. And not once does he mention like, hey, you can pay me back. And he's just like, here, give this to Lorelai. Like, yeah, because all he wants is for them to have a nice time. And he also knows, he's like, they'll love it because they're a matching set. And they even comment on that. Like, we match. Yeah. Classic girls. Yeah. And I think that's where Logan and Jess are very similar. Is the desire to make Rory happy. Yeah. And by doing it through other people too. Like, Jess makes an effort with Emily. Yeah. Jess later on tries to make an effort with Lorelai because Lorelai matters to Luke and Lorelai matters to Rory. He tries with Luke because Luke matters to Rory. And Rory calls Jess out like, hey, Luke is trying to do all this for you. And Lorelai does it too. Like, yeah. And the same with Logan. Logan's like, Luke matters to Rory and Lorelai. I don't want him to have a bad time. So let's make sure everybody's having a good time. Yeah. So they're very similar in a lot of ways, in the same way that they're very different in a lot of ways. And I think that's why it's easy to be team Jess and Logan. Yeah. And I feel like I now have to switch my position to, I am team Jess and Logan. Yeah. Or team Logan and Jess. Logan, I'm like, you still need to put Logan first. I got to put Logan first. I am team Jess and Logan, and you are team Logan and Jess. And that is okay. And I think because we are watching it with these more mature mindsets and perspectives, and now we're doing this podcast where we're talking about it and having revelations, I think that helps us have those like, oh, no, we can be both because both are good. Yeah. And we can like them for different reasons. Like and different parts of the relationship where they are good. Yeah. Like we like Jess as a character, but I agree. I don't want him with Rory. So is there I have one last thing. Okay. But I don't know if you have anything else you want to add before I feel like this is a good wrap up question. I don't have anything else. Okay. So considering what we were just talking about how we like them for different reasons, the wrap up question here is, definitively, who was the better boyfriend, Jess or Logan?
Logan.
Why?
Because of the reasons that we've talked about, like where he actually pushed Rory to be her best self, whereas Jess pushed her. But like, I agree, he pushed her to a pedestal that he had her set on. That, and also she was never going to be at the same level as him.
Yes.
Logan, she could have been.
Yes. To that end, though, I think as we talk about this more, I realized Jess, put her on a pedestal and was pushing her to that of what he wanted her to be. But I think it's because he knew what she could be.
Yes.
And I also think it's a really hard distinction to make. I agree Logan was the better boyfriend for a variety of reasons, but I think it's really hard to make that comparison for one simple reason.
Mm.
Jess was her 17-year-old boyfriend. Logan was her 20s boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she was very different. And the maturity level was very different.
Yeah.
She was still incredibly immature through it all.
Yeah.
But maturity-wise, her and Logan were on the same maturity level, whereas Jess was always more mature than Rory in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Logan, I think, if they were on an equal playing field, though, if Rory had, well, I guess Jess, we already talked about how Jess wouldn't have been the same person.
Yeah.
If he hadn't gone to Stars Hollow. Mm-hmm. So in his 20s, if they had met, they definitely would not have gotten together.
Yeah, I don't think he would have ever been interested in her.
Yeah, and she probably wouldn't have been interested in him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to see other people's perspective because, like I was saying, this conversation and these podcast episodes we've done have really helped me kind of be aware of different things and see things in a different perspective versus just living in my own head about it. Same with you and how you went from liking Digger to hating Digger.
Yeah, it's true. In 25 minutes.
I think was it 25 minutes?
I think it was 25 minutes.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, yeah, I think you can compare them forever and ever, but ultimately it does come down to they were both good.
Yeah.
And
they both had their flaws. They were both people, but I think they were both good people in the end.
And I think they were good for Rory at the time they came into her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's good. I think that's a wrap on Logan and Jess.
And on Rory's boys.
Yes, we finally reached the end of Rory's boys.
Yep.
So we will be moving on to talking about Rory's best friend. Our next episode, we're going to talk about Lane, Kim, and how they did her dirty.
Yes.
And her boys will be in that episode as well.
Justice for Lane.
So, yes, justice for Lane. But yeah, so thanks for listening to Gilmore Gab. And until next time, bye!
Bye! The Gilmore Gab is created and produced by Rachel Llewellyn and Soozee Carmichael. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Follow us on Instagram at Gilmore Gab Podcast and sign up for our newsletter on Substack. You can also subscribe to our paid Substack for early access to new episodes and exclusive content. The Gilmore Girls show and characters are the exclusive property of Warner Brothers Entertainment. Warner Brothers Entertainment is not affiliated with, nor does it endorse the Gilmore Gab Podcast.